Bill Parcells once said, "This is why you lift all those weights," to his players years ago. And he was talking about for the chance to lift a Lombardi trophy. Speaking of Lombardi, Super Bowl 60 is here, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready to break it all down. Welcome to the newest episode of the Breaking Entering podcast presented by Premium. He's Ed. I'm Brandon. Ed, how's it going?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
Doing all right, man. This is one of the better times of the year. You got the Super Bowl, obviously. NFL Honors was Thursday night. The newest Hall of Fame class was announced as well. Um, we still got teams shaping out their coaching staffs. Um, yeah, lot to look forward to around this time of year, even though it's just about over. How about yourself?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna be honest with y'all real quick. This probably one of the most least I've been like excited about a Super Bowl in a while, just because of the two teams. The Patriots, I can't stand. I go back to them beating the living hell out of my Washington,
Oh
formerly
yeah,
known as the Redskins back then. I think the score was like 52-3. It was like the mid 2000s, 2010s. Joe Gibbs was the coach. I just remember Joe Gibbs is looking helplessly. He's just staring out in space on the sideline, and then they cut over to Bill Belichick, and he just like mugging on the other sideline. I was like, and the score is like, I think at that point it was like 52-3. I was just like, you son of a bitch. And then the Seahawks, man, it's just like historically, every time we match up with them in the playoffs, they beat us. This year, they beat the hell out of us. Jada Dame has dislocated his damn elbow, so I'm still salty about that. When teams whoop our ass, I stay salty about it for a while. The Commanders got beat like a drum by plenty of teams this year. The Vikings, they come to mind. The Seahawks too. So yeah, man, I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. I hope one team whoops the other team's ass, but we gonna get into it.
for sure. All right, everyone, let's get to this opening drive. A lot of news to unpack. The Vikings, they fired their general manager. I don't want to mess up his name, so you'll see it on the bottom. Former Raiders defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, he's been hired by the Steelers to serve in the same role. Joe Brady, he's been promoted to the Bills' new head coach. Carmichael will serve as offensive coordinator. Former NFL safety Jim Leonard is defensive coordinator there in Buffalo now. Patriots defensive coordinator Terrell Williams, he's cancer free after a battle with prostate cancer. He is with the team at the Super Bowl there in Santa Clara, California. Frank Reich, he is the new offensive coordinator for the New York Football Jets. Patrick Mahomes' father, he was arrested again for violating his probation. 49ers and Rams will play the first ever game in Melbourne, Australia. Giants co-owner Steve Tisch, he's been named in the latest Epstein files. I believe Roger Goodell said an investigation is likely once they get more information. Greg Roman is joining the Giants offensive staff. His role hasn't been publicly released at this time. The Ravens have hired Declan Dole as their offensive coordinator and Anthony Weaver as defensive coordinator. Jim Schwartz, he's decided to resign as Browns defensive coordinator after being passed up for their head coaching role there in Cleveland. And Hall of Fame quarterback Sonny Jurgensen, he's passed away at the age of 91 years old. Rest in peace to him. But claps for Terrell Williams for beating cancer there, the Patriots defensive coordinator. Ed, any thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. Rest in peace, Sonny Jurgensen, legend with the Washington franchise. He played the Eagles too, but I'm just gonna mention him with the
Yeah,
Washington
yeah,
franchise. So rest in peace to him. That I didn't even know that you guys hired Anthony Weaver as y'all defensive coordinator. That's cool. Y'all bringing
yeah.
him back under the umbrella. See how that goes works for him. And then the Giants co-owner. That's kind of big news in my opinion too. We'll see how that goes, and if I have to like give up his ownership of the team. And yeah, that's kind of interesting. I'll be keeping an eye on that as it plays out, since they said there's going to be an investigation with them. They get more information. Interesting.
Sure, man. A lot of stuff going on. Uh, let's get to this big game on Sunday, y'all. Super Bowl 60 from Santa Clara kicks off Sunday afternoon. I think it's 3:30 local time. Kick there. Seattle versus New England. As we all know, one of those teams will become world champions. But let's see how Ed feels about this one.
Yeah, I said I hope one of these teams beats the other team as I'm hoping this it's the Seahawks who just stumps a mud hole in the Patriots, honestly. I know the Seahawks players from that former Super Bowl, for Russell Wilson and all those guys, Marshawn Lynch, basically losing the final seconds of the game. I know they're still not over that. I'm low key still not over that. So even though there's two completely different teams, back in the day compared to now, but I still want the Seahawks to stomp a mud hole in the Patriots. So I'm just gonna say right now, I think the Seahawks will win this game. I think they'll win it in fairly easy fashion. I know the spread is only about 5 points, 4.5 points for the Seahawks, but I could definitely see them winning by multiple scores. I'm leaning towards like 31. I'll give the Patriots 17, but I'm thinking like 31-17. But I think the game will be over right around the third quarter. Honestly, could be before halftime. But reason I think that though, I just think overall the Seahawks are a better team. Uh, Offense, defense, special teams, you name it. I like the Seahawks offense against the Patriots defense more than I like the Patriots offense against the Seahawks defense. I am kind of concerned with one thing. I saw today that Nick Imawari, the
Yeah.
rookie linebacker for the Seahawks, he went down with an ankle injury on Wednesday, I believe, and he didn't practice Thursday. And they say he's planning to play on Sunday. So if for some reason he misses his game, I think that's going to be a huge loss, as he's one of the reasons that Seahawks defense is really formidable. But talking about the Seahawks and the Patriots offensive line of the Patriots, Will Campbell has been struggling a lot. He struggled against the Houston team, struggled a little bit against Denver as well. You might not say, oh, the Seahawks don't have like a guy on the defensive line that's getting 15, 12, 17 sacks, however sacks I'm going to get, but I noticed this when they played against my Commanders. The way they line up and they do these pressures, they do these blitzes. You can call it exotic, whatever you want. I know it had Jaden Daniels and Kyle Kingsbury confused. They didn't know what the hell to do. They line up maybe like it's kind of like the Vikings in a sense. They line up guys at the line. You don't know who's gonna come because somebody's gonna drop back in coverage. Somebody's gonna go from the A gap. Somebody might go to B gap. Blah blah blah. But it's different. I think that is going to confuse Drake May. I think the offensive line is going to give up a sack or two. That's going to lead to a fumble and or a bad throw by Drake May where he throws an interception. So I do predict that the Seahawks are going to have some turnovers in this game. And I think Drake May is going to be one of the reasons why. I think he's going to get hit and fumble the ball because unless the Patriots offensive line just automatically improves, Will Campbell and those guys too just automatically improve. I see some Seahawks getting back to him, get some pressure on him. And I don't think they're gonna let Drake May burn the Seahawks with their legs. I'll be shocked if Mike McDonald allows that to happen, but you never know. We'll see. And then on the other side of the ball, Sam Darnold. I mean, I think if he wins this game, especially if he gets like Super Bowl MVP, you can't say it'll be hard to talk about I see ghosts and all that type of stuff with him. I think you have to
Yeah.
crown him as I think he already proved it honestly against Matt Stafford, who is the league MVP now. But he kind of like coordinated that like, hey, I belong in this league. This is the second year in a row where he's had over like 14 wins.
Yep.
I think he's crowned himself as like a legit quarterback, a legit starter. And we'll see how it goes the rest of his career. But as far as this game, I think, just feed Jason, turn around, get the ball to Kenneth Walker, don't turn the ball over, and then run when you got to, because Sam Donald can run a little bit. So I want to see him run the ball too. Not like a design run, but I'm talking about the play breaks down. Don't force anything. Just take off and run with it. These Patriots linebackers ain't no joke though. So get down when you can, because they do fly around the field, but get down when you can. But take some of those yards if you can. CJ Stroud, for whatever reason, he only did it once. I feel like he could have did it more. Instead on I don't know, but Bo Nix, I feel like he definitely would have killed them with his legs too. So I could definitely see Sam Darnold doing that. And then I feel like we might see a lot more of Rashid Shaheed. I don't know if it'll be in the special teams, but he's made plays. I think it was against the Rams. He made a play. I think it was like the first drive of the game. He caught a deep ball. I could definitely see that happening more. and I'm sure we're gonna hear Cooper Cup's name, but one thing, then I'll let you go, Brandon. One thing I am looking for, because the Patriots are really good when they need to, they stop the run. They might not stop the run the whole game, but when they need to buckle down, they don't let people run on them in those crucial moments. So I want to see how Kenneth Walker does against him, because I think he's a really good back. It would have been great if they had Zach Charbonnet out there with them, those two, the 1-2 punch. But I think Kenneth Walker's a hell of a back, so I'm interested in see how this matchup goes. But I'm leaning towards the Seahawks in this one. I think the Seahawks defense is going to neutralize whatever Drake Mays tries to do with Stephon Diggs, Keyshawn Booty, and the Titans. They got Hunter Henry and those guys. I just think the Seahawks are on a path to win the Super Bowl. So give me the Super Bowl. Give me the Seahawks in this one. Brandon would say you.
So yeah, all season long we've been doubting this strength of schedule for New England, rightfully so. And they've just been winning games, kind of shutting us down in those regards there. Here we go again, man. Seattle is the favorites, and I'm going with Seattle as well. I think both these defenses have played solid pretty well during the postseason. So to me, I think this game will come down to special teams and offense. Man, Tony Dungy, the former Colts head coach, he had a story about kicking to Devin Hester when his Colts played in the Super Bowl. Man, he said during those 2 weeks of preparation, that whole time just about that they were not going to kick to Devin Hester. Then he said the night before, that Saturday night, before that game on Sunday, the chaplain came in and spoke words of wisdom to the team and stuff. And he said he just felt like, forget it, I'm gonna go ahead and kick to him. First play of that Super Bowl, they kicked to Devin Hester. He ran it back to the house, man. I think it's been probably a similar topic of discussion for Mike Vrabel and the Patriots and their special teams coaching staff there with the New England Patriots. If you kick to Rashid Shaheed, there's a chance that he will burn you. You mentioned the fact that he will likely be used more in the passing game as well, possibly. But that's something as far as New England's game plan for Rashid Shaheed, the threat in punt and kickoff returns, that is something that's going to be a very much of a key factor in this game. Offensively, because I mentioned that as well, I think the Seahawks have the edge in every major category, in my opinion. Offensive line, wide receivers, running backs, big play efficiency. I think New England could have the edge in their tight ends. I think their tight ends are stronger, but Seattle loves dialing up those play action shots out of 12 personnel. It's averaged for them more than 13 yards per play this season. That's something to watch as well. I just do not see the Patriots being able to keep up with Seattle. They have to play from behind. It's tough sledding going against that Seattle defense, man. Number one in points per game allowed. Number two in yards per play allowed. You got to get ahead of them on first and second down, because in third down, they're first and third down, stopping teams in that part of the game as well, man. I do, though, give New England the edge on their coaching staff as well. I think Mike Vrabel, obviously, he's won 3 Super Bowls as a player, so he has that experience there. His offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, who both of those guys won awards at NFL Honors, by the way, which we'll talk about later. He's won multiple Super Bowls as well with the New England Patriots. So I think clock management and decision making is also going to have a big impact in this one as well. Mike McDonald has not been there. Of course, again, Mike Vrabel has not coached in the Super Bowl, but his offensive coordinator has, as to where nobody in a big role with the Seahawks on their coaching staff has coached in the Super Bowl. These matchups, though, I'm going to really be watching, y'all. Seattle's wide receivers versus New England's defensive backs. Seattle's backfield versus New England's linebackers, and Big Milton Williams, the Patriots defensive tackle, versus Anthony Bradford, the right guard for Seattle, man. Going back to the first point, JSN, Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed, they equal to a matchup nightmare for defenses, man. But those New England corners, they have held their own in this postseason. We talked about a lot with CJ Stroud in that, I think it was the wild card game or the divisional, whichever one it was. There in New England, those guys really had a really good game. Jones and those boys on the back end. Colton Davis as well, who came over from Tampa Bay. Christian Gonzalez, of course, the number one corner. Second point, New England's linebackers, they're a little bit banged up. They've been on the injury report for the last several weeks. It hasn't really been talked about, man. Can they have one more good game? and limit the Seattle run game. That'll be a talking point as well. Definitely at halftime when we look at those points while watching the game. Or will the Seahawks have the edge on the ground? And then the third point, man, Milton Williams, he's obviously won a Super Bowl. Of course, last year with Philadelphia, came over, signed that big contract, got awarded. He had a big sack as well, if I'm not mistaken, in that Super Bowl as well. Kind of helped boost up that payday for him when he came over to New England. So he knows what it takes, y'all. But these are two of the better big men in the league at their positions. Again, right guard for Seattle and Milton Williams, the defensive tackle with Seattle. Who outduels the other one will go very far in this one. I just hope Sam Darnold doesn't let me down. I know you mentioned the fact that he's kind of on the edge of outgrowing those ghost situations. And but it's funny you mentioned that, and I am now too. But it was against New England when he had those situations. Of course, it was a different defense, um, different coaching staff, different regime. It was with the Bill Belichick team. Probably good 5-6 years ago, give or take. But he struggled in his career against New England. Man, 1 total touchdown, 11 turnovers, and his teams have averaged 5.8 points per game. Again, those were different situations. He was with the Jets probably for most of those. He was with Carolina for a little bit, San Francisco, and I can't remember the other team. This is his 15. But yeah, Super Bowl MVP for me, toss up, man. I think between JSN and Rashid Shaheed, because I think Rashid Shaheed, I agree with you. I think he's going to be a little bit more featured in the passing game because I think New England's going to try to limit JSN and his big playability. But on the other side of things, again, if JSN can do JSN things, he's going to make a lot of plays in this game as well. But yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle to win in their rival stadium there in Santa Clara, the home of the San Francisco 49ers, Ed.
Yeah, real quick, like you mentioned the coaching too, because I really am interested to see how the play calling is going to turn out between Clint Kubiak. He's a offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. How he does against the Patriots, and the same Josh McDaniels against Mike McDonald over there on the Seahawks side and defensive coordinator for the Seahawks too. I definitely want to see how the D coordinator and the head coach Mike McDonald are gonna what they're both gonna do to offset whatever Josh McDaniels and company
Yeah,
does to the pitcher side of the ball. But yeah, I'm leaning towards the Seahawks figuring out a way to get it done. But please, Sam Darnold, like you said, like we both saying, please, Lord, don't play bad. I just can't. I don't want to see the Patriots win. Lord have
sure.
mercy.
We'll never hit the end of it.
Yeah, because I said it. They're gonna say Mike Vrabel's the first player, the first person to become a win the Super Bowl as a player and win the Super Bowl as a coach for the head team. And Drake May, Lord have mercy. And I don't got nothing against Drake May. I think he's actually cool. I like Drake May, but you put on that Pacers jersey, it's gonna be hard for me to like you. Like Stephon Diggs, my brother from Maryland. I'm like, I'd be happy if you win, but at the same time, oh
Sure.
well if you don't win. I'll just put it like that. All right, y'all. This episode is brought to you by Premium, a CBD health and wellness company. Check out their line of CBD infused products, which are a perfect after workout refuel for athletes, a pain reliever for weekend warriors, and even a natural sports drink for us armchair quarterbacks. Their featured product is CBD infused honey, which is a personal favorite of mine, as well as tinctures and mints and natural flavors. They are veteran, women, and minority owned, so come get some of this sweet temptation and taste the premium difference. Use code B&E for 15% off your order. The website is premium.com. And now let's get back to our show. All right, y'all, we got to do our parlays of the week. Since there's only one game, I'm going to do a little bit different. I'm going to
Yeah.
try to include some, game bets. So, of course, I got the Seattle Seahawks winning the game, but I'm also going to pick the Seahawks to recover in the spread. They're favored to win by 4.5 points. I think they can cover that. And then give me Rashid Shaheed for anytime touchdown too. So I got Seahawks winning, Seahawks covering the spread, and Rashid Shaheed as my anytime touchdown. We'll see how that goes. But those are my parlays, or my parlay, excuse me. Brandon, what'll say you?
Yeah, man, you mentioned your score earlier, so I'm gonna give a score as well. I got Seahawks 24, Patriots 18, Sam Darnold 2 passing touchdowns. Rashid Shaheed, he'll have a uh, punt return or a kick return for a touchdown as well. And I think it'll be about a good 60 yards or more. And then Stephon Diggs on the other side, he's going to score a touchdown, 20 plus yards in front of his girl, Cardi B, there in Santa Clara. That's my parlay.
All right.
All right, everyone. As we mentioned, I mentioned off the top, the NFL honors and the NFL honors was Thursday night, and they also announced the Pro Football Hall of Fame class 2026 as well. I'm gonna reveal these names to you all. MVP Matthew Stafford, Offensive Player of the Year Jackson Smith and Jigba, Defensive Player of the Year Miles Garrett, Offensive Rookie of the Year Ted McMillan, Defensive Rookie of the Year Carson Schlesinger, Comeback Player of the Year Christian McCaffrey, Protector of the Year, the newest award, Joe Thuney, Coach of the Year Mike Vrabel, Assistant Coach Josh McDaniels, and Walter Payton Man of the Year Bobby Wagner. And let's also reveal the Hall of Fame class 2026. They'll be inducted later this year in August in Canton, Ohio. Drew Brees, quarterback, Roger Craig, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, and Adam Vienna Terry. Ed, any thoughts on these guys on both departments? On either?
Yeah, going back to our in-season predictions, I don't think I got any of the player awards right. I did because I remember I said I thought John Robinson, running back for the Falcons, was going offensive player of the year. He did. I think he led the league in scrimmage yards, but he definitely could give it to Jackson Smith and Jigba. I thought Puka Nacua played pretty well as well. It's crazy. You look at the Browns got two guys as awards on the defense side of the ball, and they, the
Yep.
defense. I mean, their defense wasn't bad, but it just didn't lead to wins. Salute to Miles Garrett. I mean, maybe you said Miles Garrett was your defensive player of the year. I think he might have predicted
I think
that.
so.
Defensive rookie of the year. You talked about Carson Schlesinger a lot, and you were talking about him winning the defensive rookie of the year. I think by like mid-season. So you called that one too. Congrats to Bobby Wagner. Walter Payton, Man of the Year. Congrats to you, sir. Leave that alone. Christian McCaffrey winning Comeback Player of the Year. That's pretty cool. I know some players. It was funny. I was listening to NFL Sirius XM radio because Ed McCaffrey, he does a show sometimes at the opening drive with Solomon Wilcox, and he was talking about how some guys they wouldn't want to win Comeback Player of the Year because it means that the year before they were injured the whole year. And that's exactly the case for Christian McCaffrey. But it was cool. He was able to play the whole, pretty much all the games, 17 games this year, second in scrimmage yards. So that's really cool. Too bad it didn't lead to more success in the postseason. Hopefully he can stay healthy the rest of his career and, they get back to it next year. But that's pretty cool to see. Coach of the Year, you can't really argue with Mike Vrabel, in my opinion. I mean, there were a lot of candidates. I think that Liam Cohen, I thought he was going to win, but Mike Vrabel, he definitely had a turnaround for the Patriots too. So that's nice to see. Assistant coach Josh McDaniels, I mean, no comment on that. So that's cool. And then the Hall of Fame class, salute to everybody who made it. Drew Brees. I'm not surprised, but it was like, oh, okay. I don't want to say surprised or shocked, but seeing Luke Kuechly make it in, that's pretty dope. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I think he's a Hall of Famer, but I was kind of, to see him, I guess let me put it that way. But I'm not saying he's not deserving. I definitely think he's a Hall of Famer. One of the best linebackers who played. I think his career was cut short due to concussions and things like that. So I definitely think he could have played a little bit longer and still been dominant. But, he was doing his thing with those Panthers, man. So salute to him. Happy Larry Fitzgerald got it as well. And I remember Roger Craig, they had him on the Manning cast. I think it was either Manning cast. It was a Monday Night Football game they had him on. It was, of course, the Niners were playing, but they had him on there, and he was kind of like, not saying campaigning, but, he was like, hoping he made it into the Hall of Fame. It's good to see him finally make it in. Played in the late 80s with the San Fran, won 3 Super Bowls with those guys out there. So salute to him for making it too. And, Drew Brees getting into there, that's pretty cool to see too. Vinatieri been a thorn on my damn side when he played with the Patriots and things like that. But, salute to all those guys who got in the Hall of Fame. See how it goes next year. I know Eli Manning was a finalist, but he didn't get in. We'll see if he'll ever get in. But yeah, man, salute to everybody who won an award. and got into the Hall of Fame. Brandon, your thoughts on any of that?
Yeah, man. When you mentioned that comeback player of the year point from Solomon Wilcots, and I believe it was Ed McCaffrey, that was exactly the same point that Joe Burrow made after winning it twice, I believe now.
Mm,
I think he was the winner last year. So yeah, a lot of players do not like winning that award for that same reason, man. But I'm with you. I'm about the same predictions heading into the season. I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, maybe Miles Garrett, just because so much respect for him that I had, I may have predicted him. But the Miles Garrett, man, beast, man, best pass rusher in football, y'all. 5.5 sacks against Lamar Jackson, if I'm not mistaken. That was the most he had against one player. He had five, I believe, and it may have been 6.5. I know he had five against Drake May, which was the closest. Of course, he played us twice, so that was a little bit of, however you want to weigh that out. Defensive rookie of the year, going right back to the Browns, man. I remember when Carson got drafted, and we talked about it heading into the season. All these defensive players that came over, that the other three teams drafted in the first couple rounds in our division. I think the Harmon pick with Pittsburgh, defensive tackle. Of course, Shamar Stewart, I believe his name is, with Cincinnati.
hmm
Um, the Browns also drafted, I think, a defensive tackle in the first round, and then they got Schlesinger in the second round. I was just like, man, out of all those guys, and then we had our second round pick, uh can't think of it, Mike Green. Out of all those guys, I was like, man, this Carson Schlesinger guy gonna make some noise, because I can't remember who he played with at UCLA, but the UCLA, his teammate, went in the first round, and they was talking, and every time they mentioned him on draft night, they was talking about Schlesinger as well. Or you watch the clip of that young man's highlights. I can't remember who that is. Schlesinger was right there with him. But yeah, playmakers all over that Browns defense, to continue to have the impact that he did with the year that Miles Garrett had, is saying something about him. So unfortunately, I feel like we're stuck with him for several more years to come as well in the AFC North. But I did mention going into the season that the Protector of the Year, the newest award, was going to be won by a Kansas City Chief, because I said it was going to be. I just figured the Chiefs was going to run the table again, win the Super Bowl. Of course, they did not, but a former Chief won this award, of course, in the first year. I knew it was going to be linked to the Chiefs one way or another. But yeah, Joe Thuney, of course, now he's a member of the revamped Chicago Bears offensive line. So, kudos to him and kudos to everyone else, man. And then Chet McMillan as well, winning that offensive rookie of the year. It kind of looked like Abuka was going to run away with that after probably
hmm
about 6-8 weeks. He got banged up. I think he missed a couple games, and then other guys started making plays as well. I'm glad Matthew Stafford won the MVP over Drake May. Again, I don't have anything against Drake May as well, but we would never hear the end of that either. He won it in his second year, and perhaps possibly can win a Super Bowl as well. But we don't have to worry about that first part because Matthew Stafford won. Hall of Fame, y'all, man. Larry Fitzgerald, man, y'all know I don't like divas, but he was a diva on the field with his play, man. Sure hands, um, and he was loyal to the Arizona Cardinals, no matter how bad they were. And even to this day, he continues to support his team that drafted him. No noise, no jawing with other players, man. Just performance, week after week, year after year. That guy continued to make plays. Adam Vinatieri, man, I'll never forget that man. Of course, he had time with New England to start. Won those, reason why they won so many Super Bowls early on. He went to Indianapolis. I remember when he went to Indianapolis, I was like, man, why he jumping ship going to Indianapolis, man? I couldn't stand the Colts. That, still can't stand the Colts. But yeah, arguably, more than likely, a lot of people agree the best and the most clutch kicker in National Football League history. Adam Vinatieri, well deserved in my opinion. And then Drew Brees, man, my man. I have his jersey, of course. Um, when I think about the city of New Orleans from the sports aspect, I think of three people: um, Drew Brees, Sean Payton, former head coach, and Chris Paul. Chris Paul, because he got drafted by the Hornets when they were the Hornets way back when we was in high school, and I have his jersey as well. Of course, Sean Payton helped that turnaround after Hurricane Katrina. They won the Super Bowl 3 years after those two came down there, him and Drew Brees, and again Drew Brees. He's also won Walter Payton Man of the Year. Just a great guy. Um, I loved his pregame speeches, man. I loved his play on the field. Arguably one of the best offenses of all time. That year they went to the Super Bowl, and the years surrounding that as well. You talk about Devery Henderson, um, Marquise Colston, Jimmy Graham, the running back Deuce McAllister, man. They had a solid offensive line. You could argue with the defense. You know, they had that whole I can't remember, was it Bounty Gate situation or something like that, where they, supposedly was paying players to make, knockout players and stuff. You could talk about
Yeah.
that, but Drew Brees and that offense was cooking for sure. And I remember when he left San Diego, the last really one of the only moments I remember him with the Chargers was when he left the field and he had his arm like this walking off the field, and we did not know where he was going to play the following season, and we did not know if he was going to be able to come back. I believe that was his throwing arm as well. Him and Dante Culpepper hit free agency. Dante went down to Miami. Drew went to New Orleans, and it all worked out for Drew Brees, man. Well deserved first ballot Hall of Famer. So yeah, congratulations to everybody on both departments, the Hall of Famers and the guys that won from their performances on the field this past season in the NFL honors on Thursday night.
Yeah, definitely. All right, y'all. That's gonna do it for another episode of Breaking Entering Podcast. We'll see y'all next week to recap the game. Hopefully, I'm not upset by it. Hopefully, I don't mind if it's a blow. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't mind if it's a
Okay.
blowout as long as the Seahawks blow them out. But everybody does want to see a good game. So we'll see what happens on that. But Lord have mercy, please, Patriots. God, let me stop. Let me stop. But yeah, as always, we want to thank y'all taking y'all time out watching the show. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Look for us, Breaking the Internet Podcast, B&E Podcast. Follow us on X or Twitter, Podcast B&E. Look for us on Instagram as well, B&E Podcast. And we will see y'all next time. Peace.